Good evening and welcome to Midweek. Well, coming up on tonight's show, like him or loathe him, he's never dull. I'll be talking with Eamon Dunphy about Irish soccer, Roy Keane, the state of the country, Enda Kenny and his family life today. Plus, the woman who was stabbed 12 times by her partner tells her story. Well, Eamon Dunphy is a man who's had a career that may be best described as colourful and controversial, especially when it comes to the Irish soccer team. So when I met him this week after the launch of his new book, I started by asking him about his latest scrap, this time with the interim Ireland manager.
Each match. What are we supposed to do? Suspend analysis? The essence of sport.
But he was only in the job 20.
Their show, and they judge.
But now, a lot of people emotional, to be fair, in the interview with Tony O'Donoghue, but I think he was probably upset and hurt at the result of it. So who would you drop right now out of the starting 11 and who would you bring? Who do you think will be next Ireland? Roy Keane was sent home, not that Mick McCarthy sent him home.
I think...
Or sorry, not that Mick McCarthy, he didn't walk off.
At that time.
So the smart money is on Mick. What about Roy Keane? Have you spoken to him recently?
I haven't, no. No, I work for Roy as a PR man. That's what happened.
And that is all those... He's the quintessential owner, Roy Keane, isn't he? Make a good Ireland man. You mean rock and roll as in it'd be a great story? I want to ask you, Eamon, about where you think we are as a nation right now. Do you think we're at this turning point? I mean, we had the budget last week and Michael Noonan, and I'm paraphrasing now, more or less said, you know, the worst is over, we're moving on, we're going to exit.
Easier to borrow money, probably. Love us. That's why the Troika will...
That's why maybe we're going to levy. No guarantees, it's not going to be passed on to customers. Do you think Enda Kenny doesn't understand, because you're here to talk about the book, and it's a terrific read. You speak so fondly. When your mum went to Father MacDonald that time,
yes,
your own dad, Eamon,
my
became
father was,
the victim of what you call the most ruthless electoral machine. I ask you, the instance of near sex abuse that you encountered. You were just out as a young fella, tipping the ball around, and a neighbour... I want to get back to the book, Eamon, because you finished it in around Italia 90. That was a really difficult time for you and your family, because I know... was it against Romania? I suppose everyone was saying you're ruining the party. That was the accusation levelled at you. You were in the airport on the way to Italy, I think. I had an inflatable hammer with you in the studio. I want to talk to you, Eamon, just a little bit about your private life, and I know I've kept you all morning here.
It's a lovely part of your life, and we're one family.
And then you have Jane now, and
Jane Rose. Yeah, and love-hate.
They have a couple of drinks.
Have a few.
You famously said, Eamon, you know what I'm going to ask, that there was...
I think the war on drugs.
Right, Eamon, we leave it there on that controversial note. The book is an absolutely terrific read, by the way, and it only goes up to 1990. So. All right, after the break, I'll be talking to a lady who was stabbed 12 times by her partner. She tells us her story. Stay with us. Well, it's been just over a year since my next guest was stabbed 12 times in an horrific case of domestic abuse. Margaret McNamee's attacker was her partner, James Mulhall, who's the brother of the so-called Scissor Sisters, Linda and Charlotte Mulhall. Also here is Elaine Burnett from the Respond Housing Association. Did you first meet James? How did you meet him? Progressed. You became pregnant quite quickly.
Yeah,
after a couple of months. Yeah. Okay, so what was the significance of it being the 30th of September?
It was cold.
All right.
And I was torn to get me a cup of tea, and he started stabbing me.
Action must have been.
I told me
get the kid. I've interviewed people before.
It was quiet,
and they will say that kind of is coming.
Peace. Yeah.
Did you remember immediately? Clearly, you must have been confused where you were, what had happened. I think happened. There's drink involved in the middle of the night. It was in the... Can I bring you in here, Elaine, at this point? Is this the most extreme case of domestic violence? Similarities, perhaps, in what Margaret is saying about the way James would try to control her with other domestic violence cases.
That's what
Is that the first sign you have to watch out for? Because I'm conscious of the fact that there are women watching this show tonight, Elaine, that might be at the start of a relationship and they're getting... And if there are women watching this tonight, Elaine, and like Margaret said, they're in that situation where they're in the frame of mind, I'm thinking about leaving, and there's an atmosphere about the house where he suspects... Well, if you'd like to get in touch with us on the show, or you have a story that you'd like to tell us, you can contact the TV3 website, or you can email midweek@tv3.ie, and you can watch tonight's show back on the 3 player. Vincent is here next, so stay with us. Good night.